Exciting or demoralizing, vital or unnecessary, easy or difficult, and often all of the above. Ivy Tech is currently undergoing a time of significant change, both with the new strategic plan and with the organizational structure changes. As a result, the system as a whole is placing more emphasis on change management, both at the leadership level on campuses and in systems office, as well as at the individual level. We recently presented some resources in the Talent Development newsletter, and we encourage you to review those. It is important to understand the underlying reasons for change. We hope these town halls and regular emails I've been sending help you understand that need. As I have said, we are putting more community in community college and helping to ensure our resources are placed appropriately. I encourage you to talk to your supervisor and ask questions to learn why change is taking place. Additionally, have adequate assistance, communications, and support from colleagues and leaders is all essential during a change. Be sure you're reaching out to others around you if you are lacking the support you need. I understand that change can be intimidating. However, with the right tools and a supportive team, we can be equipped to make a smooth transition. I know many of you continue to do excellent work in the face of change, and I'm continually inspired by the work of our faculty and staff. I want to highlight the work of one of our own. Earlier this month, one of our academic advising directors was recognized for her work by the National Academic Advising Association. Eliza Erxleben, Director of Academic Advising on our Bloomington campus, was selected for an Outstanding Advising Administrator Award Certificate of Merit. The Outstanding Advisor Administrator Award is presented to individuals who have demonstrated qualities associated with outstanding academic advising administration. A staff member was quoted in her nomination saying, "I think she personifies the idea of servant leadership, helping each of us excel at what we do." One of her favorite quotes is, "People who feel appreciated will always do more than is expected of them." Eliza definitely understands this and makes us all feel valued and appreciated. Congratulations to Eliza for this honor, and we are glad you've chosen Ivy Tech as your home since 2010. Now, for an update on the strategic plan. As we discussed last month, we have held sessions across the state to review the strategic plan draft with faculty and staff in August and September. We have received feedback from all of those sessions and have been making revisions accordingly. This month, we held gold kickoff meetings, which leads to the next phase of the strategic plan, which is finalization, rollout, and implementation. Following the goal kickoff meetings, teams have been formed for each strategy, called strategy teams, which include representatives from campuses and systems office. These strategy teams include individuals across the state who volunteered for strategies, thank you each, as well as others that have been identified as a good fit because of their knowledge, role, or experience to serve on the strategy teams. Over the next few weeks, the strategy leads, campus lead, and systems office lead will work with their strategy teams to create action plans. In December, the strategic plan will be reviewed by the Board of Trustees. The first year of implementing the strategic plan will include finalizing the metrics, including developing 5-year targets. That will occur this December. An implementation kickoff will be held on January 23rd in Indianapolis. Information sessions will be held at each campus in January and February. Strategy teams will have monthly update meetings. A full report each quarter will be given at Executive Council, including metrics and status of goals, and an annual report will be shared with the Board of Trustees. Additionally, all documents related to the strategic plan will be shared on MyIvy to ensure continued transparency in the implementation process. Another task associated with the strategic plan has been completed. Our strategic plan now has a formal name. After much brainstorming, sharing it with chancellors, and incorporating feedback, here is the title for our strategic plan: Our Communities, Your College, Pathways for Student Success and a Stronger Indiana. Now, we transition to documenting the great work we've been doing in developing that strategic plan And one important part of that is gathering your stories from our campuses across the state. We plan to include at least one story to illustrate each of our 7 goals. So, what we need from you are the stories. We have created an email, ivystories@ivytech.edu, where you can submit your stories. If you have a story about a student, a project, a colleague, an employer, or your community, please send it to us by next Friday, November 3rd, and include which goal you believe it illustrates. As a reminder, the goals can be found on My Ivy on our employee dashboard. We look forward to hearing your wonderful stories. Today, we wanted to talk a little more in depth about one of our strategies, Goal 3, our completion goal. It includes Strategy 3.2, creating a seamless K-14 system. Katie Moat, Vice President for Operations for the South, is serving as the Systems Office lead for this strategy. So I've asked her to share some details around this strategy. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning, Sue. Thank you very much. And thanks is also owed across the college for your support and active engagement throughout the strategic planning process. As you know, and as Sue just explained, teams are forming across the state around the 7 goals and associated strategies to develop tactics. This is the campus and community level work that will drive the attainment of the strategic planning goals. As Sue explained, Strategy 3.2 focuses on the creation of a seamless K-14 system in order to increase completions. Our current strategy of a la carte dual credit can be strengthened through an understanding of how these dual credits might be more intentionally offered and consumed by students to produce impactful credentials, such as the technical certificate and the statewide transfer general education core and other certificates, technical certificates, and industry recognized certifications. This shift from an input-only focus to an outcome-driven focus on building the student experience with the end in mind first, that being earning of a credential, is a critical component of Strategy 3.2. As our focus on high school students shifts towards post-secondary credential attainment while still in high school, the college must also adapt its coding of registration type so that we are accurately capturing the work happening at the campus level. Accurate coding of the high school students' registration becomes increasingly important as high school students often have multiple registration codes existing both as a dual credit registration type, taking classes by an appropriately credentialed high school instructor at their high school, and also as a revenue generating registration type. This dual registration status exists as a result of this intentional weaving together of credits and opportunity earned through dual credit at the high school and credits earned as a student at one of our Ivy Tech campuses. In order to have this outcome of completing a credential, students often need to enroll at an Ivy Tech campus to fill gaps that are unmet by dual credit in order to earn a credential. For an example, a high school student may be part of several different registration types, including those that you see depicted here on the screen. Dual credit is, of course, familiar, probably mostly so, to our directors of dual credit or K-14 initiatives, and this reflects a student who is enrolled at least one course as a dual credit course, which carries an RD registration code. We also have students who are dual credit only, meaning that they are exclusively enrolled in those dual credit courses that are, again, taught at the high school. Dual registered begins to capture this shift that we have been discussing. So a dual registered student is one who is enrolled in at least 2 courses within a term, with at least one class as that RD dual credit registration code, and at least 1 or more classes with that RE or RW registration code, which we'll discuss further now. A dual enrolled student has that same population value of a high school student, and dual enrolled revenue generating is the college's solution to help us better support the work at the campus level with this student type. This is a student who has a student population code of a high school student and is enrolled in an RE or RD registration code in that term. So in addition to evolving the college's strategy, internal adjustment and adaptation to better support that work and truly develop a seamless K-14 system is also required. Since July, the Decision Support Team has been working closely with the Vice Presidents of Operation, Systems Office Enrollment Services, and the 19 chancellors to improve its understanding of how these various student population codes and associated registration codes impact the accuracy of headcount and FTE reporting. Previously, the college could not maintain a high school student's dual registration identity. A high school student, for example, enrolled in both a dual credit course at his or her high school and a course at our Ivy Tech campus in the fall semester, for example, would appear to switch buckets at about November, as this is the approximate time of year that dual credit enrollments are entered. In that August of that fall term, that student was appropriately registered for an on-campus Ivy Tech course as a revenue-generating student. However, in November, that same student is registered for her dual credit course, and she appears to switch buckets into the dual credit bucket. We were failing to capture her dual status. The dual enrolled revenue-generating student type resolves this bucket switching headache. In addition to better capturing campus-level activity, the focus on revenue-generating headcount is important, and it is directly related to Goal 3 of the strategic plan and the strategy of creating a seamless K-14 system that is focused with the end in mind, converting a la carte dual credit into an impactful post-secondary credential to drive student attainment. The college remains committed to dual credit and the opportunities it affords to high school students through that partnership. Strategy 3.2, creation of a seamless K-14 system, requires an evolved understanding of how to best leverage dual credit to produce completions for high school students. The dual enrolled revenue generating student type will better support the campus's work in this space by accurately capturing these varied student registration codes for the high school student.
Thank you, Katie. I know for many of us that felt in the weeds, but as we serve 60,000 dual credit students across the state, it's so important that we do that in the best way with the end in mind. So thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Sue.
Turning now to our organizational structure project, I'd like to update you on Hubs analysis. As we have said, Hubs analysis takes time, and we will take even more time when needed to uncover the optimal answer rather than rushing through the project. The Finance Hub analysis team has started the future state analysis and determined that additional data was needed after gathering all current state information. The team is meeting again later this month and next to continue to develop the future state model. The current goal is to have a future state recommendation by the end of the calendar year for the Finance Hub analysis. However, the feedback process concluding over the holidays may push that into January. I will continue to keep you updated in these monthly town hall meetings. Here's where the other Hub analysis teams are. The Grant Hub analysis team is documenting current process around the state, including Muncie, Fort Wayne, and Indianapolis. This team includes foundation and finance representatives, and the team is working to schedule the future state development meeting. For the Payroll Hub analysis team, the charter is complete and Simplex has been scheduled for early November. Some of the processes being reviewed include pay adjustment forms, tax code input, maintenance, filing, payroll direct deposit, and reporting to outside agencies. Current state will be conducted at Indianapolis, Muncie, Richmond, and Terre Haute. Kickoff meetings for each location are scheduled and documentation will occur in November. For the Safety and Security Services Hub analysis, the charter is complete and Simplex scheduled for early November with current state documentation occurring later in November. The charter is in process for the online instructional technologies Hub analysis, and that team is working on scheduling the pre-consult and Simplex meeting. The Human Resources team conducted the Simplex meeting during its retreat last month. However, the full Human Resources Hub analysis project work won't kick off until January. The charter is complete and the Simplex pre-consult meeting was held earlier this week for the Financial Aid Hub analysis. Kickoff meetings are scheduled with Columbus, Madison, and Terre Haute in mid-November. And finally, the charter is in process for the marketing hub analysis. We continue to ask for patience as we work through these processes. We also appreciate all the hard work at campus level and systems office subject matter experts as you're working with so many teams. One of the topics we continue to receive questions about is the RASC tool that we have referenced in prior town hall meetings. I've asked Mike Popilski, Executive Director of Human Resources for our Lake County, Valparaiso, Michigan City, and South Bend Elkhart campuses to walk us through the RASC process and how we're using the tool. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Sue. Thank you. Yeah, our teams in the former bi-regional campuses have been using the RASC tool for several years now, a few years now, to help establish role clarity and improve communication. As the organizational structure project began to take shape, we thought this would be a good tool to use college-wide. RASC is an acronym for Responsible, Accountable, Support, Consult, and Inform. For major functions throughout the college, the RASC exercise may help identify broad tasks to be performed, who is involved in the task, and at what level is their involvement. The RASC exercise includes completing a chart that lists the broad tasks along the y-axis and lists positions across the x-axis. So the way the project would be rolled out is to identify each role with each task by placing an R, an A, an S, a C, or an I in that box. This RASC chart helps people to know what and when to communicate across the system, who is responsible and accountable, what kind of support is needed for that task to be rolled out, who is consulted before the task is implemented, and who needs to be informed after the task is implemented. Knowing the answers to these questions helps people understand their roles and how they interact with others. While RASC will help with role clarity and communication, it also serves well to establish where a department may report. The RASC exercise has already been used to help clarify the role of academic advisors and who works with the academic advisors. Participants through the college that worked on that project are included on this slide. The exercise of completing the RASC chart provided for rich dialogue that helped participants arrive at a recommendation to place the Academic Advising Center within student success. This process will next be utilized for determining the homes for the testing centers, dual enrollment, and early college. We will continue to use RASC exercises throughout the college, both broadly and locally, to help improve communication and define role clarity. It is important to understand and remember that like other communication tools, this is not the only communication tool that's available. Even after a RASC chart is developed, we have to remember not to dismiss common sense and good judgment when working with our colleagues throughout the system, within the campuses, and across service areas. Tools such as RASC are intended to facilitate strong relationships and communication, but should never be considered the only tool or used too prescriptively. Thank you, Sue, for the opportunity to provide a deeper look into what the RASC tool can do.
Thank you, Mike. The RASC tool and all those tools we use are so helpful to us in our decision making. You will likely recall that there has been discussion around where the bursar should report in our new organizational structure. Is it a day-to-day function of finance or a function of enrollment services? Earlier this month, a systems office team, which included Mike McNichols and Mike Popilski from Human Resources, Ben Burton, our Chief Financial Aid Officer, Sarah Cleveland, Assistant VP for Admissions and Recruitment, and Tom Skidmore, Executive Director of Cash and Debt Management, met in preparation for a possible RASC experience to help determine where the bursar function should report. Following the meeting, the team made a recommendation not to move forward with the RASC exercise and, in fact, to have the bursar report to finance. Per guidance from the U.S. Department of Education's system of checks and balances, from a regulatory perspective, the bursar would need to be separate from student affairs, enrollment services, and student success. I have accepted that recommendation with an understanding that finance will work closely with enrollment services to ensure we are providing the best possible customer experience and the most efficient and effective communications throughout the billing and payment process. I have asked Jeff Fanter and Tom Skidmore to work together to align communications and service to ensure we provide the best possible experience for our students. It is possible the RASC may still be utilized to help staff within finance enrollment services understand how to work and communicate with each other effectively. I want to thank the team that evaluated the situation and came forward with a solution that is best for our students and our team at Ivy Tech. Another project with college-wide impact relates to improving the efficiency of our payroll processing. Our Vice President of Human Resources, Julie Lorton Rowland, is here to discuss this, along with Mia Johnson, Dean for Public and Social Services, Business, Computing and Informatics, and Health Sciences at our Muncie campus. Mia serves on our inaugural Faculty Council, which helped guide some of the changes. We thought it would be helpful to have Mia ask questions of Julie, many of which we've received from you over the past few weeks as we've announced this project. Mia, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Sue. I'm proud to serve on the Faculty Council and glad for this opportunity to ask some of the payroll processing questions so many of us had. Excuse me. Julie, would you share with us why the college is changing the payroll frequency for the semi-monthly paid employees?
Mia, first, thank you for inviting me to join you today to share more information about this project. A best practice in the payroll industry is to pay employees on a lag basis. Currently, our hourly staff and adjunct faculty are paid on a biweekly 2-week lag basis. The college has long been in need of a modern electronic timekeeping system, and one payroll frequency for all employee groups provides an effective and efficient method to get us there. We will realize cost savings through the elimination of 24 payroll cycles annually.
Who will the change affect?
Faculty and staff presently paid on the semi-monthly frequency will see a shift in the payroll payment cycle. This includes 9-month, 12-month full-time faculty, deans, our administrative 12-month faculty, as well as full-time administrative and staff, part-time and full-time.
Will adjunct faculty and hourly staff be affected by this change?
No, our adjunct and hourly staff are currently paid on the biweekly frequency, so no changes are necessary.
Okay. Tell us when this change will take place.
The transition to the biweekly payroll frequency will take place in April 2018 for our deans and full-time and part-time administrative staff. The transition for the 9-month faculty and the 12-month faculty will take place at the onset of the 2018-19 academic year faculty agreement in next August. Newly hired deans or administrative staff who begin employment with the college now and until the transition period will be paid on the biweekly lag basis upon hire.
As a result of the change in pay frequency, will the college offer assistance to help bridge the pay gap for faculty and staff affected by this change?
Mia, thanks for asking. That's a really great question, and I have some really great news to share for our 9-month and 12-month faculty. There will not be a gap in pay between the last summer contract pay, August 15th, and the first academic year contract pay, which will be August 31. The August 31 pay will be for a full biweekly pay. In addition, core benefit deductions such as medical, dental, and vision will not be deducted from this pay. August is one of 2 months in the year where there are 3 pays. On that third pay of the month, we do not deduct premiums for core benefits. There are certain deductions, however, like flexible spending and voluntary retirement contributions that will be deducted. This means your net pay will be more for this pay date. For the administrative staff and deans, the options available include cash in up to 80 hours of accrued vacation, elect a zero interest loan of up to 80 hours of pay. You might think about setting aside an amount each pay period via direct deposit to a new or existing personal bank account to be used during the 4-week period when regular payment would not be received. Also, a combination of cashing in some vacation time, electing a zero interest loan, or setting aside funds available now, or finally you may choose to wait until the biweekly pay frequency begins, meaning not receiving a pay for a 4-week period.
How does the change in pay frequency affect when faculty and staff will be paid?
So for our deans and full-time and part-time administrative staff, your last semi-monthly pay will be on Friday, April the 13th, 2018. This will be a full pay at your semi-monthly rate. Your first biweekly pay will be Friday, May 11th, 2018. This will be for a full 2-week pay. If you choose one of the options to help bridge the gap in pay, such as cashing in vacation or taking a zero-interest loan, that payment will occur no later than April 30th. As mentioned earlier, the 9 and 12-month faculty, there will not be a gap in pay between the summer and fall terms.
How does the change in pay frequency affect when benefits premiums will be deducted through payroll?
For deans and our faculty on 12-month contracts and administrative staff, you will continue to have most of your benefit deductions on each pay, with the exception of when there are 3 pays per month in twice a year. The third pay has limited deductions like the flexible spending and voluntary retirement contributions. For our 9-month faculty, benefits are deducted on an accelerated rate to ensure faculty have benefit coverage such as medical and dental and vision during the summer term when faculty may not be working or perhaps working a reduced load. This is not a change in practice, but the accelerated premium amount will be spread over more pays, reducing the per pay period premium amount. Certain voluntary benefit deductions will occur when faculty have a summer contract. There is no acceleration of college retirement contributions or your voluntary retirement contribution.
Should we expect annual sick and vacation accruals to change?
No, the number of days earned per year and the maximum accruals will not be changing. The accrual rate, however, will be changing due to the change in pay frequency, 26 pays a year as opposed to 24 pays per year. Additionally, for our faculty, there is no interruption to the availability of faculty release hours.
Julie, are there any modeling tools or worksheets available to illustrate how the change in pay frequency impacts paychecks?
Yes, Mia, we have created a faculty pay comparison worksheet and a dean/staff pay comparison worksheet that illustrates the shift from the semi-monthly pay to the biweekly pay. These worksheets are being made available as resource documents to your local HR staff and will also be posted on MyIvy. Worksheets are also being developed that will allow employees to enter their own pay and deduction information for individualized modeling. We will send an announcement when those are ready.
Tell us about the discussion we had with the Faculty Council on October the 16th related to paying 9-month faculty over 12 months and the impact on the voluntary faculty salary deferral program.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. Our goal is to have one standard faculty pay distribution. Today, 9-month faculty pay is distributed over the 9-month academic year contract, or faculty have the option to spread their 9-month pay over 12 months through the voluntary salary deferral program. With 41% of our faculty electing the salary deferral option, we floated the idea of a standard 9-month pay over 12 months. Faculty feedback shared through faculty council members, chancellors, our HR leaders, and to President Elsperman told us that this would create a hardship for many faculty. We took this feedback very seriously and decided not to establish the 9/12 pay as the one standard pay distribution. As a result, the standard 9-month faculty pay distribution will align with the biweekly pay frequency beginning in August 2018. This academic year of 2017-18 will be the last year for the voluntary salary deferral program.
Where can employees get more information about these changes?
We have established a repository of information on the Human Resources page in MyIvy. Click the Employee link in Human Resources in the left navigation pane. Your local HR team will also be available to help answer your questions. When updated information is available, we will send a college-wide notice out. The FAQ document will be a living document, and we will indicate updates made to this document by date.
While we've been talking, faculty council members have sent in some additional questions. Question 1. What impact will the biweekly pay have on those of us that have overload or stipend contracts on top of our regular 9-month contract?
Faculty who have an overload or a stipend will receive that pay along with their regular pay on that biweekly frequency. All employees will be transitioned to the biweekly frequency. So everyone in the college will be paid biweekly after we transition next fall.
Okay. With the good news that there will not be a gap in pay for faculty between the summer and fall terms next August, will faculty still have the option for the zero interest loan as a means to help adjust to the pay frequency?
Yes, absolutely. We believe providing this option is still beneficial to the faculty, and more information will be forthcoming shortly after the first of the year to make those kinds of elections.
Okay. How soon will electronic timesheets be available?
Very important information. We expect to have our electronic timesheet system available next spring, shortly after the transition from the semi-monthly to the biweekly pay frequency for our deans and administrative staff. For our faculty, we are planning for early next fall.
Okay. Thank you, Julie. There's a few more questions still coming in. We'll add those to the frequently asked question document on my Ivy.
Thank you, Julie and Mia. That was very helpful. You know, change is hard. However, many of us really cannot wait to have this payroll system enter the 21st century and the ability to make it more convenient for all of us, saving thousands of unnecessary entries, hundreds of banking transactions and associated fees, and postage, just to name a few. So thank you to Human Resources for the good work. As in all town halls, we end with a couple of additional questions that have been submitted related to other areas. So Mike, will you join back with me to ask questions on behalf of staff and faculty?
Sure thing. First question is, please explain how the quadrants work and what data is used to populate them.
The colleges use job market demand data to better understand and align our programs and resources to local workforce needs. The data come from the Indiana Department of Workforce Development, DWD, U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, Department of Labor, Burning Glass, ONET, and employers, and include median annual salary and number of job openings for middle skill occupations by county and region. Middle skill occupations typically require a certificate or associate degree, and each Ivy Tech program is linked to one or more of these occupations, allowing for a comparison of program workforce demand relative to the supply of students completing the program in a given campus service area. Transfer degree program demand is calculated using the same data sources, but it aligns to occupations that do require a bachelor's degree or higher. And though we think this data is about 80% accurate, because of course it is a forecast, we do utilize local advisory board and community input to adjust these if a strong rationale can be made for data that may be under or overrepresented. To further facilitate this analysis, all programs offered by the college at the campus level have been placed into a 4-quadrant framework. The quadrants reflect the relationship between the demand for occupations in a service area and the supply of educated workers completing related Ivy Tech programs. In this framework, Quadrant 1 programs are those with high workforce demand and a low supply or degree completions. Ivy Tech has capacity to expand those Quadrant 1 programs. In Quadrant 2, programs have high workforce demand and a relatively high supply but face constraints in growing those programs, such as available instructors, clinical spaces, and lab equipment. We see that at Ivy Tech in our nursing programs. In Quadrant 3, programs are a lower workforce demand but have a relatively high number of completions, or our students completing them. These are situations where we really should advise our students to examine where they're pursuing and look at some higher demand occupations. And in Quadrant 4, program completions are at relative equilibrium with workforce demand. This analysis and assessment has allowed Ivy Tech to begin allocating resources to workforce demand more appropriately with our marketing, our advertising, our personnel, our advising, and other assets.
Very good. Another question that came in. The FAQ document outlines the criteria used to calculate the campus and site designations, C1, C2, C3, S1, and S2. However, specific numbers are not identified. What are the ranges for each of the criteria that determine a location designation, and what are the min and max for each?
The organizational structure team, which included individuals from the systems office and campuses, had many discussions regarding the best way to categorize our campuses across the college. There were over 20 iterations or formulas of the scoring system that resulted in the campus and site level designations. The individual level designations finalized are based on a score composed of 7 metrics, each scoring 46 points. Those individual metrics include population, head count without dual credit and apprentice data, FTEs, completions, workforce demand, which does include 2 measures, and non-credit headcount. The slide behind you is available for review with the organizational structure information on MyIvy. Campus and site level metrics were well defined and thought out by the team. As we move forward with these campus and site designations, there is an opportunity for locations to move up or down in the classification system based on their performance and the metrics of their community. The metrics will also be used to measure campus and site effectiveness. A dashboard is being developed for campus and site leadership to better understand how this will happen. Once again, I'd like to close our town hall by thanking you for your commitment to our students, even as we, as an institution, are going through much change. Enjoy the fall foliage across our beautiful state and the transition to autumn weather. Please join us again for our next virtual town hall on Friday, November 17th. Have a great weekend.